Frances works as a waitress at a restaurant. On her way home on the subway, she finds a purse lying on an open seat. She realizes someone must have left it there and picks it up. She looks into it and finds an identity card. It belongs to a woman named Greta. She takes it back to her room, where she lives with her friend Erica. Frances says that she will return the bag to the address the next day, but Erica isn't up for that. She opens it up, and among other belongings, she finds a small purse. Within it, there's a lot of money. Erica says they will go to the spa with it. Frances denies and puts them all back in the bag. The next day, she takes the bag to the address and rings the doorbell. The woman from inside asks who it is. Frances tells her about the bag. Greta finally comes out, and she is very happy. She requests that Frances come in for a cup of coffee. She complies and enters. Greta brings in the coffee, asking about her whereabouts. As they talk a little, suddenly she stands up and asks the neighbors on the wall to quiet down. She gets back to Frances, and this time she asks Greta about her life. Chatting with her a little bit, she gets to know that her husband has died and her daughter is in Paris. She once had a dog, but it passed away as well. Frances, seeing that she is very lonely and sad, says that she can help her get a new dog since her mother used to breed dogs and she knows about them very well. However, Greta denies, but she brings in her phone so that Frances can leave her number. At night, as Frances talks to Erica about Greta, a call comes to her phone, and it is from no one but her. Greta tells her that she has thought about the dog and she would like to buy one. She asks Frances to meet and talk about it. She agrees and makes a time. They go to buy a dog and decide on one. On their return, they stop at a park and Frances captures some photos. Greta assumes that she is very close to her mother. Frances agrees and says that she is, and she died last year. Greta consoles her. At midnight, Frances receives a text from Greta. She writes that she's glad to have gone out with her and sends a picture of her with her dog. Frances meets with her again at a church where she used to come with her husband, and after his passing away, she claims to have come here still weekly. She further hangs around with her, either at her house or outside. One day, as Greta is playing piano for Frances, she gets all emotional about her loneliness, missing her husband and her daughter. Frances tries to caress her, but she says that even she will leave one day. Frances replies that she is like a chewing gum and she likes to stick around. Greta asks her to promise her about it, and she does so. On the weekend, when Erica asks her to go out with her, Frances says that she has plans with Greta and she can't make it. Erica says that this is being weird now and she should stop thinking of her as a surrogate mom. It offends Frances and she leaves. She goes home to cook together as Frances makes something her mother used to make. When they're about to make the table and Greta asks her to fetch something from the cupboard, she opens the wrong closet and finds that there are multiple purses exactly like the same as the one she picked out for her. Frances finds that there are names behind all those bags, and behind one of them, there's her name as well. She is freaked out, but joins the dinner anyway. Greta can see that she is not looking well, and once asked about it, Frances replies that she feels sick and that she should just go home. Greta tries to caress her, but Frances attempts to leave anyway. However, the door is apparently locked. She looks back at Greta, and she asks to use the key in the bowl. Frances does so and leaves. At work, Frances finds her phone is flooded with Greta's calls. She calls Erica and expresses her regret for not listening to her. While on the phone, her manager arrives and says that a woman is waiting for her. Seeing who it is, Frances instantly requests that her boss get rid of her, but he doesn't care, so she has to approach her anyway. When Greta constantly asks her about what's wrong, she tells her about the bags. She lashes out and leaves, as Greta has nothing to reply to that. Some days pass by, and Frances receives a flower from Greta with a note of apology. She doesn't accept them, and one day, as she is serving some customers, she finds Greta standing outside casually. She drops the glass and handles it, but she keeps on staring at her. She calls the cops, and even till evening, Greta keeps standing the same way. The cop says that it is not illegal and they can't do anything about it. He further advises her to ignore her. Once she can't see her anymore, Frances leaves. However, as soon as she is about to get on a return train, there is Greta. She gets out immediately and the door closes on her. Greta says her sorry constantly as the train passes, and when she returns to her apartment, she finds Greta standing there. She screams what she wants. Greta replies that she wants to talk, and when Frances screams that she should talk to her daughter, Greta responds that her daughter doesn't understand that she is lonely. She further approaches her and requests that they should start over, but when she denies, she reminds her of her telling that she is a chewing gum, spits a gum at her hair, and leaves. Erica helps her remove the gum from the hair, and they reach the police station to file a report. They want a restraining order, but the cop says that they have to file a petition affidavit. It will be forwarded to the judge. The process might take months. Later, Frances goes to the dog shop from which they had bought her dog. She wonders if somehow she can get the dog out of her house. The shop manager says that she has to find proof of her abuse. She gets to Greta's house and peeks at her from behind as she goes out to take her on a walk. She finds a lot of letters in the trash can, and inspecting them, she realizes that her daughter is not in Paris. From a number she found on the letters, she attempts to look for her daughter, but no responses are heard. She returns to her apartment. It feels eerie inside. However, she finds it safe. She calls Erica, who is at a bar with some other friends, and calls her in, but Frances refuses. Feeling eerie, still she calls her father, with whom she hasn't talked to after her mother's passing, because he married a younger woman very quickly. In the middle of her talking, she gets a text on her phone, and it is from Greta, who sent her a picture of Erica. She calls her immediately, and Greta sends another picture, being even closer. Erica picks up, and Frances asks her to leave because Greta is there. She leaves from the back door, and Greta continues sending pictures. Erica cannot see anybody behind her. She walks further, and Greta still keeps on sending pictures. Erica goes on the subway, and she is still behind, but Erica cannot see her. She gets out of the subway, hops into a bus, and thinks that she might be gone, but she is there too. Erica is finally able to see her and curses at her before leaving. Frances gets out of the house and takes a taxi to pick up. There, Erica finds Greta still taking her pictures. However, Frances has arrived in the meantime and picks her up. At home, Frances surprisingly gets a call from Greta's daughter Nicola. Someone named Alexa has called her and asked her to meet with her at a cafe. She meets her, and Alexa tells her that Nicola is dead. She had committed suicide a few years ago. Alexa was her guidance counselor for addiction, and she's also aware that Greta is a very ill woman who used to put her daughter into a box as a child, and her daughter has never been to France. Frances tells her father all about it later. He advises her to get rid of her as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Frances gets a duty call and finds out that it is none other than Greta at the table. She freaks out but continues serving her anyway. She asks her why she is doing this, and Greta replies that they can't just get through so easily. Frances asks a coworker to call the cops and takes a drink to her. She doesn't like it, and as Frances is about to leave, she drops the glass on the floor. Frances instantly goes to take care of it. Greta says that she needs a mother. She's like a baby, and she cannot go on alone. She says that her daughter had to die so that they could meet. She gets rather crazier and throws away the table. She starts screaming that she needs a mother. Everyone is shocked, and she is stopped by the security and then eventually arrested. However, she is not detained for very long, as the very next day, Frances gets a call that she has already been released. Frances, now upset, talks to Erica and says that her father is coming to pick her up. She doesn't really want to go, but she's still scared of her because she has to come back anyway. Erica advises that she should go and meet her this time and apologizes to her. She should give her a fake sorry, move in with her father for a few days, and once she comes back, the woman will move on to someone else. Frances meets Greta at the church and apologizes to her. She takes all the blame on herself and then says that she will be leaving for a few days. Greta accepts it and says this is not yet the full goodbye since she will return and hugs her. She returns home and pours some substance into the dog's food. Later, one day, Frances gets some coffee at home and suddenly finds that the plant is watered, even though Erica shouldn't be there. She soon collapses and her visions get blurry as Greta enters. She takes her to a cab, addressing her as her niece, and takes her to her home. Frances can still see everything, but not quite clearly, and she has no power. She can see Greta going to another room, and the dog is seemingly dead. She soon falls unconscious. Greta drags her to another room and puts her in the child's cradle, locking her up. But it's merely a dream as she wakes up with a shock and finds the coffee still in the microwave. She finds her father has arrived, and Frances takes her stuff to get down. Erica bids farewell, and on her way down in the lift, she suddenly finds it stopped in the middle. Lights are crushed and the lift starts shrinking. She screams in fear and wakes up inside the box, seeing rather it was a dream. She punches at the door and then Greta finally opens it up. Greta says that this box is for the liars. She went to his room and found her not packed anything. She has apparently lied about going anywhere. She is then about to close the door again, but Frances requests her not to in fearful eyes. She complies, goes out, locks the door, and starts playing the piano. Frances gets out and tries to find a way out and realizes that she is locked from every direction. She finds another woman's ID card at the place, and beside it, there is a trouser. She attempts to break the door with a chair, but it doesn't work. Frances's father calls her, telling her he has found some old photos which are received from Greta. She finds a photo of her and sends it to her father, saying, having fun. She also sends a picture to Erica. Frances's father reaches her apartment since he knows she is with Erica, while Erica knows she is with her father. When this revelation is made, they are both stunned. Greta takes her to play the piano, and whenever she makes a mistake, she strikes her with a ruler. Meanwhile, Chris hires a detective to find her daughter. Greta drops something on the milk she takes to Frances. Frances doesn't want to drink it, and she further politely threatens her about the box. She falls asleep. Greta sleeps beside her, caressing her as her child. Later, they make cookies as Greta teaches her the French word for it and asks her to pronounce it correctly. She notices the cookie shaper is in between her fingers. In an instant, she punches through it and her finger gets snapped. She further hits her with a roller. She attempts to find a way out and discovers that only one door is unlocked. However, out of it are high walls. Trying to find a way out, she finds herself in the basement where there is a rug, and inside it is the woman whose ID she found previously, and she is alive. Soon, Greta comes from behind and gags her with the clothing, making her unconscious. Later, she heals her finger and wears a glove over it. She further takes her to the bedroom and ties her up. Meanwhile, Byron, a detective hired by Francis's father, reaches Greta's home and asks her questions about Francis. Greta, with her friendly approach, invites the detective into the house. Greta says that she knows she is out on vacation with her father. Francis can hear all this from the lockup, but her mouth is gagged. She can hear Francis thumbing inside the bed and make an excuse to feed her dog and leave. Meanwhile, the detective can see the piano move as Francis is in a room just the opposite side. He suspects something and almost gets access to the door, but Greta arrives with a syringe and injects it into him. He gets weak instantly, but manages to take his gun out. However, it is of no help since he can't see anything clearly. The bullets rather go through Francis's room. The detective falls unconscious. Greta takes the gun from him and starts dancing. Eventually, Greta goes back to the subway to plant the bag once again. A young woman eventually picks it up and reaches her house. Greta doesn't waste any moment this time and poisons the tea before bringing it up to her. However, Francis can hear that there is someone new inside the house and keeps on thumping. Greta reaches there to take care of it, putting it down to the neighbor's fault. She returns, and the cup from her hand falls. She feels tired and tries to go to the kitchen. When she returns to the sofa, the young woman in front of her removes her wig, and it is none other than Erica. She had swapped the cups. As Greta falls down, Erica looks for the room, and Francis constantly tries to give her a hint. She finds her and unties her. As she's about to take her out, the piano is played from the outside. They both get scared, and Erica leaves Francis there to check it out. With a trophy in her hand, she tries to hunt her down, but can't find her anywhere. Meanwhile, as Francis gets out, Greta grabs her from behind. However, being too weak by now, she falls down. They lock her up inside the box and sit in front of it together, gasping their life out. So, that was the recap for the 2018 movie Greta. For more recaps like this, stay subscribed to the channel, and if you have liked this video, you may also like this.